Greetings, ladies and gentlemen of the interweb. Welcome to episode 7 of Movie Breakdown. I am Zach.
I'm Jacob.
And we are talking about It today on this Halloween-themed special.
It's spooky.
We've got spider webs. How horrifying is that? Let me tell you, difficult to set up.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like cotton if you don't do it right, apparently. So today we're talking about It. And spoiler warnings ahead. But right now we're going to talk about the director and the cast. Directed by Andres Muschietti, starring Bill Skarsgård, Jaden Lieberher, Sophia Lillis, and Finn Wolfhard from Stranger Things. And the plot centers around a group of kids who are terrorized by a monster that feeds on their flesh and their fear. Basically the titular character of It. And it's just about a struggle between the kids and the monster beneath the bed. A Stephen King adaptation. What did you think? What were your first impressions of the film?
I don't like scary movies. I thought this one was done very well. It's like, in terms of scary movies, this didn't scare me too much. And there may be instances of attempting to scare me too many times. But I thought it was done well, and it pays off pretty well.
You were able to sleep the night after you
Yes.
saw it? Yeah, I agree. It wasn't terribly scary. It was suspenseful, yet it wasn't like a mystery film. It was definitely a scary movie. I mean, it was rated R and it had some terrifying sights, but I never felt like my heart was never pounding, and I was never on the verge of like tensing up and being like, okay, when am I gonna jump next?
Okay. Second time around, yeah, I was never heart pounding or anything. First time around, I was freaking out a little bit. Like, there were, like, when the shutter thing is flickering and it's just suddenly showing you more images of it, and you're like, oh god, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw this movie, I really liked it. Definitely, I've seen it a few times since then, tonight being the most recent. And it's definitely more dull after the first time. Because you kind of know what's going to happen, and there's nothing to keep you on the edge of your seat. And it kind of just, it's disappointing, but I mean, I can't really fault the movie too much for that, because that's kind of the nature of scary movies.
Yeah, they tend to be tropey, and you'll see in this one that there are tropes from scary movies that you can call out, even if you don't remember the specific scene. You're like, oh, he's going to turn, and then he's there. Oh, what's up?
Yeah, that's definitely a little bit cliche. So that takes us to our next topic. Overall, do you think it's scary, yes or no?
Having seen it again, no. First time around, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitively say no. I wasn't even scared that much during the first viewing. I think it's kind of like a doorway scary movie. Like, if you want to get into scary movies, try It first and see if you can handle that.
It's a gateway drug to scary movies.
Don't get hooked on them. And again, this movie had several scary moments. What do you think was the most intense moment that made you almost shout out in fear?
So there's total different types of fear. There's the oh my god, wow, like the fright or things popping out. But I personally like my reaction is like, what the fuck? My favorite moment was when Beverly was in her bathroom and like hair started coming out of her sink drain, starting to pull her down into it,
Right.
and then blood just erupts out of the sink into her mouth, all over the bathroom. That was the scariest thing. It was like, ah.
That's a good one. For me, it's when Bill encounters it for the first time, when he sees his little brother run across the room, and then there's that loud like walkie-talkie sound, and it's just like something. It's unsettling and it's sad, and because you know that it's not Georgie, and Bill doesn't, and it's kind of just hard to watch, and then Georgie starts yelling at him and like, "You'll float too."
Comes out of the water holding his hand.
No, he like he throws him down into the water and then charges Bill, and it's just like, oh man, that went from sad to scary and like like that. But non-It scare has to go to Beverly's dad. The guy was just creepy. Every scene he was in. Good job by the actor. I don't know who played him, but he really comes across as this just like abusive pedophilic and he does a great job, and it's tough to watch.
Like, who locks the doors from the inside to keep
know,
a kid out?
dude.
Oh.
on the lighter side, this movie was pretty humorous.
Oh yeah,
A
it's
lot
actually
more
really surprising.
A lot more humorous than I ever thought it would be. The first time I saw it, somebody asked me if I thought it was scary. I was like, no, but I thought it was funny. Specifically, Finn Wolfhard's character Richie.
Finn is a constant jokester. Like,
Yeah.
There's only a few lines where he takes himself seriously. It's like he's just talking about the length of his dick, and then other people are shitting on him for that.
Yeah, that's how he is in the books. I've read about half of the book, but he's the trickster, and I know you agree with me on this, but I think that they overdid him a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the Marvel effect where he's making jokes at the worst moments. There's like kind of relieves the tension.
I think he's sort of an SNL movie character.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it's a constant joke the entire time. Like Hot Rod. It's like some character development, please.
Yeah, I mean, the lines where he does take it seriously are powerful, but overall, he's just kind of fun to watch. Not really much depth. And then some of the other characters have some side lines where they make a joke or whatever. Yeah. They roast him.
They rebut him and just destroy him.
That's not saying much. So yeah, it's one of those rare scary movies where it's both a little scary, and it's both kind of funny. It's I would label it like a comedy horror, but I know that it's definitely not labeled as such.
Oh yeah.
In the vein of Get Out. I know Get Out was more suspenseful, but that was kind of advertised as a scary, funny movie. And I think these two movies did it more or less right.
Yeah. It's really entertaining. I think if it wasn't funny, it would have been a lot harder to watch.
Yeah.
Like, those moments of humor kind of get you to laugh and release tension and then relieve boredom in times.
Definitely. There were a lot of actors in this movie, a lot of characters. Out of all of them, who do you think did the best?
Okay. So I thought the actress who played Beverly did a fantastic job. And then I really, really loved Bill Skarsgård's It when he could actually talk.
Right.
And like a multitude of sentences. So like his first scene and his last scene are brilliant.
Yeah, I pretty much wholly agree. Sophia Lolas, who plays Beverly, she's really the first character who has to convey a good amount of emotion. It's when she's kind of dealing with her abusive dad, and you can just tell that she hates this guy and she's terrified of this guy, and she goes into her bathroom and she cries, and it's just like, oh my god, like she's like 16 years old and she's already doing this stuff. And
it's a good turn from being bullied in school turning to like casually talking to Ben, and then oh god, she's abused at home too.
And I think it's important to note that some kids will become the bully if they're bullied at home. She goes the other way. Like, she's like, hey, I know you get bullied all the time, I'm gonna be your friend.
Yeah.
She's a good person, and she doesn't let what her dad does to her she doesn't let what her dad really makes her endure.
Oh no, she fights back.
Yeah,
I'm damn proud of her for that.
She doesn't mimic her dad. She rejects his ways, and she really becomes her own character. And I think it's important to note that not all people who have abusive parents are going to turn out just like their parents. Yeah. And I think the character of Beverly stands for that. And I agree with you. Bill Skarsgård does an absolutely phenomenal job. Like, the last scene where they're like beating the crap out of him, and he's trying to make a deal with them. His line delivery is perfect. His movements, the nuance of what he is, a monster clown. Yeah. Like, it's beautiful to watch. I don't even find myself scared of him. I'm just kind of entranced. Like, wow, this guy's going for it.
It's like, it's hard to go like popcorn, pop, 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 and actually be incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, oh, poor Georgie, man, but that scene was great.
I can see why Georgie got his arm ripped off.
Like, yeah, you know what? I'll take my boat back from you.
I want to hang out with this guy. So yeah, on the other side of the coin, who would you say did the worst job in the film, acting wise?
For Bill's dad.
Bill's dad
had he just had to blow up at Bill for like, no, Georgie's dead. Leave it alone. Knock it off. And I'm like, one, I didn't think the scene was 100% necessary, and two, like, it wasn't good. And they had to focus really strongly on Bill to make sure that that scene wasn't wrecked.
Yeah, it was just like his dad was yelling, and I think the camera was kind of just on him. Mine goes to, and I don't mean offense. I know he's just a kid, but The actor who plays Stanley, I think that Stanley didn't get a lot of focus in the film, but just some of the line delivery was off, and he's kind of just a one-note character.
Yeah.
He never really has an arc. He's just kind of he doesn't have much courage, but he kind of gets like dragged along with his friends. But
like I don't disagree that that could be a human being, but it's less.
It's not interesting.
Yeah.
So I mean, like you can't completely blame the actor for that, but just out of all the characters, he was the least interesting to me. And another aspect of this film is cinematography. And you know what? I can't really say much about it. Nothing. It's one of those films where it's like nothing jumps out at me, but the whole movie looks good.
Yeah.
It's just a polished looking film.
It's solid the whole way around, and then there's a couple times where they punch it up just to make sure you feel a certain emotion. Like, hey, Bill likes this girl. And we're like, I know that now.
Let's light her up and make her look all like they used to do that in like the early cinema where they'd make the women like brighter and more like your eye grabs onto them. But they used a lot of like drones and cranes, and it's a sleek, smooth looking
There's
film.
very smooth shots, especially in the beginning coming out of the sewer, going over that river. That looked beautiful.
It turned like the camera like goes like 360 and then like just flies out of the tunnel, and gotta hand it to them. That's a great way to open a film.
There's a lot of moments where they'll like. There's one moment in particular I remember where they tilt back into Dutch when Discount Kylo Ren is running for his spear, and it's just like, I don't know why they did that, but I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I can't sit here and point out a ton of examples, but I just know that the film was sharp and it looked good. Moving on to the build-up versus payoff.
Yeah.
I think the build-up dragged on a lot, and it's just a lot of repetition. I said to you during the movie, it was like repeating the same thing 5 times, how each kid had to have their encounter with it, and then they fight him twice in 2 different instances at the end. And it's just kind of a movie of repetition, and that doesn't sit too well with me. It gets me bored, especially after watching it a few times.
The one thing I'm grateful for is that Richie didn't have his scare moment until he was in the house with them fighting and he saw the clowns. Like,
I even think that they could have had more kids have to see it to believe it.
The first time around, like, I hate scary movies. I hate apprehension. The first time around, I was like, you are trying too hard to scare me.
Yeah.
Like, there's too much of this going on. Can we move forward with the plot?
Because the plot doesn't really advance for a good 30, 40 minutes.
It's a little ridiculous in that point.
Yeah.
That being said, I do really like how they kind of show you most of their fears. Like, I would say Mike's fears wasn't really necessary. Like, hey, that's a character, but it wasn't really. Yeah, it didn't pay off later.
That's really just like backstory. Like, it doesn't with Mike. It doesn't really matter that his parents died. It more so matters to not be a sheep, to be the one holding the bolt and not the sheep. That's the thing with his character. His parents burning is kind of I hate to say this, it's kind of inconsequential.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
It didn't work
for his character. But everybody else, I think their fears are pretty well defined, especially
Eddie.
Eddie's character. Yes,
Eddie
exactly.
is terrified of anything dirty, and oh god, he just gets shit on the whole movie.
It's to the point where like his character is kind of wrapped in his fear, and then I think they develop him nicely. It's minimal, but it's effective because at the end he rejects it. He's like, "Mom, you've been lying to me.
It's a gazebo."
Yeah, it's a gazebo. But yeah, I liked Eddie's character a lot. One of the more effective arcs for sure.
Especially at the end where he's just straight up vomited on with something black, and he just
takes it, like
spits it all
hesitates for a second, and then he's like, no,
you're gonna die now.
Yeah. So in that sense, I think the payoff is good. Like, you endure a lot of just waiting for the plot to get going, but I think the payoff works.
Especially since the mechanic they use to fight him is that they can't be afraid of him. Like, that's pretty good because it's the whole time he's literally terrifying them the entire time, and then they're like, you know what, I'm gonna be brave now, and it takes all of them together to do it.
Exactly. It's kind of like the whole movie is just a ticking time bomb, and by the waning stages of it, you're like, is this ever gonna blow? And then when it blows, like, it blows.
Oh yeah, they're just smashing him all together, and you're like, yes, let's get hyped.
You're like, every connection with his face is so. It appeases me.
And he's fighting back in really interesting ways. Like, he actually has some really fun mechanics towards the end. Like, he's doing like tarantula spider legs or whatever,
It's
stabbing.
it's like a boss battle.
Yeah.
He's got certain attacks he's got to watch out for.
Stage 2.
So we'll be right back in a second for Ya or Nine. We'll see you soon, folks.
Can you smell the circus, Georgie? There's peanuts, cotton candy, hot dogs, and...
Popcorn?
popcorn! Is that your favorite?
Uh-huh.
Mine too! Because they pop. Pop, 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 pop. Pop, pop, pop.
All right, we're back and we're here for that time again.
Ya or Nine.
So as always, we're going to talk about aspects or characters of the film, and we're going to hold up Ya or Nine whether or not we like the aspect or character. So starting off with the titular character, It. Yeah.
Himself.
I really just can't say enough about him, and I wish that there were more of him. But really, like in his appearance in the film, he does a great job, and I'm looking forward to seeing it in the second one.
More of him in this one would have been great. Like, I liked him a lot.
Agreed. On to the main human character, Bill. I'll say yeah. I think he does a good job. He's kind of the runner-up for my best actor / actress. I think he conveys a lot of emotion for a young actor, and Beverly just edged him out. But I really liked Bill's performance.
He did a great job. I really enjoyed the swinging from confidence and stuttering. I enjoyed that playing out throughout the movie, where he's fighting with Richie and then suddenly he's stuttering again because he's unsure of himself. I thought it was a great character.
Well, I wasn't a big fan of his rousing speech just because I don't like rousing speeches that much.
True.
I do like how he doesn't stutter, and Richie's like, wow, he didn't stutter.
Yeah, and that's what moves Richie to go in with him.
Yeah, it's just
okay.
It's a good little addition to the film. And next is Beverly, and we've already discussed her length, so we're just gonna say and move on with that.
The one thing I will say is, I'm glad they did not sexualize her as much as they do in the books.
Right.
I'm very glad of that. It's like, it's an R-rated movie, so an adult may watch the movie. An adult should probably not watch movies about middle schoolers.
Yeah, it would make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I think that they didn't really sexualize her. They just kind of showed all the other boys like desiring her because they're just discovering these feelings.
Yeah,
and that's accurate.
understandable.
Yeah. But I'm glad they didn't take it overboard. Because that could have been bad. That could have been really bad. And then on to Ben. The lovable, chubby guy.
Yeah, poor guy.
Does a great job.
So let's just say he has an iron stomach because he does not feel pain in that stomach.
That guy, usually, folks, in video games, like fantasy video games, you've got like the wizard, you've got the warrior, you've got the rogue. Let me tell you, Ben is the warrior. He's a freaking tank. Like, this guy takes the most damage of any of them. He gets sliced on the stomach, Freddy Krueger style. He gets his H carved into his stomach.
Man.
Kid gets knocked around. like kudos to this kid. Like, and all through that, he does a nice job. He's probably my third favorite actor of the kids.
He does a good job the entire time, and then he's even like the pseudo third wheel romantic guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, come on, guy.
Like, you'll find someone, kid. It might not be Beverly, but you'll find someone. Moving on to Richie, I will give him a ya. I think he's funny. I don't think his character goes beyond that much outside of a few instances, like we've already said. But
Yeah.
he's funny. He's a really funny guy.
Yeah, he's clever in a lot more ways than I expect people to be funny.
Yeah, especially 13-year-old kids.
Yes.
He's almost like he was written by adults. And Eddie, again, I'm gonna say yeah.
Eddie, yes.
I just like how I think he's funny too.
Oh, yeah.
Just not in as an overt way as Richie, but he's funny. Like, he's like, my mom's gonna have an aneurysm if she finds out. Like, he's always concerned about what his mom's gonna do, and for good reason. But I enjoy Eddie a lot.
He bounces really well off of Richie. Like, he's like, I don't want to hear your British doctor thing right now. Like, I got this.
Suck the wound. And Stanley, I'm gonna give a 9 to Stanley. His character just doesn't do much in the film.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, I'm glad that character exists who doesn't rise as much as the others to the occasion.
Right.
I think that's more myself. I don't think I'm that brave. But yeah, I think more development or some sort of arc. But that being said, sometimes the lack of an arc is an arc itself.
Also, it's tough to have, because there's a lot of characters. It's tough to give each and every one an arc. But I just think the movie could have utilized him a bit better. And again, Mike, I'm gonna say 9 for this very same reason.
Yep.
Although he's a bit better. I think Mike is a little bit better of a character than Stanley because he's got that whole like, don't be the sheep, be the executioner kind of guy.
And he straight up murders a man. Like
He pushes that mullet head down a freaking well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And then one more character. We didn't write it down. I'm throwing it in. Georgie.
Yeah. Like the youngest of all the actors, and he does a good job. He portrays innocence and like fear and uncertainty so well.
His line delivery was really cute.
I feel so bad for him. It's like, Georgie.
In the beginning, he's like, "That's disgusting." And I was like, "Yeah, it's so cute."
Like, you sound like a 6-year-old. It works.
And then his no.
Yeah. He's just like, I feel so bad that he gets his arm ripped off and killed. And I'm gonna throw some more characters on there.
Ooh.
How about Bev's dad? I'm gonna say
yeah.
I don't like the guy, but man, he's creepy and eerie, and
He's despicable in a good way. And I hope, I had thought that it was gonna get him after he was knocked out.
Yeah.
I hope that happens somehow.
yeah, I hope he's dead because he's a rotten son of a gun. And then one last character who's kind of important, Bowers. I'll say like the guy, he's just a loose cannon, a mad dog, and I like how it takes advantage of him.
Yeah,
for that
I
reason.
think for now I'll say yeah. In the beginning, say half hour of the movie, he's kind of crazy just to be crazy,
Yeah.
and then towards later, and you see he's crazy frustrated and not just like one-dimensional bad guy.
I totally agree with you because at first you're just like, oh, he's just a school bully.
Yeah.
But then you see how like his dad genuinely like makes him afraid and like how he's
once he like drops the knife,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh my god, I need that so badly." You're like, something's up.
Yeah, like he's just like an unsettling character. He's a psychopath, and I just like how the film, again, it's with the payoff. It pays off and it shows you just how off the rocker this guy is, and he murders his dad and then he tries to kill the kids.
A pretty cool way too.
Yeah.
It's like the way I've always wanted to see in Star Wars, where they just ignite.
Yeah. So those are all the characters we've got. Let's see what else we've got in this segment. Moving on to music. I like the music. I actually like the music a lot. It's subtle and also it has its moments.
It does a good job of being a good horror movie when it needs to be. So it'll bring you down into the silence, or it'll hit you with the high pitches. And then there's moments where it's just like, nah, I'm bopping to this. This is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, one of the most unsettling parts of it are when they have like the chorus of kids singing, and it's just like, oh
yeah.
kids. Usually around the whole Easter egg like thing with Ben, but yeah, it's eerie. But they also use some period songs from that area, and I think they did a nice job. It's an interesting mix, but kudos to the sound designers and whoever chose the music. Set design is next. I'll say but it's kind of like a soft I thought some of the sets, like the quote unquote haunted house, were a little cliche.
That's my asterisk. I think I like everything else. I especially like the open sewer drains that they go through. But God, that haunted house is just like, it's like Despicable Me, where you're walking, here's normal houses, here's this giant dilapidated house, and you're like, that doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah, it's just like they go inside and there's spider webs. It's like our tables. It's just cliche. And there's spider webs and like old doors and creaky noises, and it's just like, oh man, like they've seen horror movies before. They know what to base this off of. But then you have, my favorite set is Its Lair, where they've got the big pile of stuff and then the floating kids, and it's really creative. And so that's why I give it a because I think that set, along with the Barons, is cool as well. Like you said, it's just the good outweighs the bad by a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Moving on to CGI, I'm gonna actually say 9. I think there are some moments where it kind of takes me out of it because it doesn't look that good. honestly, usually involving it, whenever it has to like open
Yeah.
his mouth, it just looks a little off to me.
I think I'm gonna say yeah, mostly because I think some of those moments are intentional. I think the jaw stretching out, yeah, that should have been done better. But there's moments when like he's doing the jig,
I like that.
the hot diggity
like
dog,
that,
and his
yeah.
head doesn't move, and you're like, that's not right. But you made that happen, and then they motion blur him at times, especially around the head, but not the rest of the body. And I think that's on purpose, just to unsettle you a little bit extra. So I actually really liked that.
Okay, that's fair. So that is about it for Ya or Nine. We will be right back, folks. Don't go away.
No, don't. Let him go.
No, I'll take him. I'll take all of you. Yes, I'll feast on your flesh as I feed on your fear. Or you will just leave us be. I will take him, only him, and then I will have my long rest, and you will all live to grow and thrive and lead happy lives until old age take you back to the weeds.
All right, welcome back to the show. Now we're going to move into a new segment recommended to us by our producer, Emily, on the most unpopular opinion of the movie. Mine, I don't know if I think you agree with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like even though I agree that the film probably had to kind of see through the kids' eyes and focus on them, I think that it should have been focused on a little bit more. I know it's difficult to empathize with a monster that murders and eats people, but I think he's just interesting, and he's shrouded in this mystery. Like, where did he come from? Why
Where did he go?
Yeah, what? Your little
Where did he
name
come
is
from,
Capnajo. But yeah, like I would have liked to have a little bit of backstory and just to understand him a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, I will say it again. When he strings together 4 or so sentences, he is the best part of the movie.
Absolutely.
The beginning scene with Georgie, and then when he's taunting people towards the end, it's fascinating. Like, it's on the level of any other character. Like Gollum scenes in the riddles that we just talked about last
Yeah, The
week.
Hobbit.
Those are great scenes, and you just can't stop watching.
There's just something about him. It's like you just want to go on YouTube and look up all his scenes. Like, he's just got such nuance, and he's so weird. And like Bill Skarsgård really understood the character.
Oh, nailed it.
I think that I definitely like this version of it more so than the older one. The older one was kind of cheesy and corny and campy to me, but this one is like scary and interesting, and I just want to see more. And I wish that this movie had given us more. There's still hope because we're gonna see the second one coming out in 2019, but
Part 2.
that's definitely what I'm looking for.
Yeah, same.
And so next we're gonna talk about would we have lived or would we have died. You go ahead first, Jacob.
Okay, so the thing for fighting back and not giving him strength is to not be afraid of him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm dead. 100%. I get scared very easily. He would just turn into a snake, and then a spider, and then some kind of snake spider.
You're telling me he would have turned into Kevin Durant? Wow.
I'm deathly afraid of that Warriors player.
You see, if that's the situation, man, I kill him because that infuriates me. And that's what I was like. He would have to do something to really piss me off. Because,
Your rage would cover my fear.
I would just be like, no, I'm not scared. I'm pissed, man. Like, you left the thunder. You screwed us. And then it would be like, man, this really backfired. And then there wouldn't be an It sequel.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it depends. I think like he's scary, and I think in that situation, yeah, I'd probably be scared. But if he had killed my brother, I think I would have absolutely
You
been
could rise
pissed.
to it, yeah.
And, yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that qualifier. I don't know what I can do when I'm enraged.
Yeah.
Like that.
So like, all it takes to get Ben mad is apparently insulting Beverly. So
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't want to mess with that kid. I'm just saying.
He's a good dude.
So out of 10, what are you going to give this movie?
Okay. So initial experience and rewatches, I think I'm just gonna add them together. I think you were mentioning you were probably gonna do the same.
Yeah.
I think this movie is probably a 7.5 out of 10. I love this movie the first time around. Next times, I'm not super hype on, and I don't like scary movies, so that kind of docks it down a point.
Right. For me, honestly, I realized the problems of it the first time. It was the second time that I really enjoyed it the most for some reason. And then tonight when we watched it, it's kind of boring. Because I knew everything about the film and I was like, yeah, I know what's gonna happen next. Yeah, let's get on with it. So I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Still a good movie. I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it. Just I don't think that it has much rewatchability.
Yeah, scary movies in general really don't.
Yeah.
Even my favorite ones.
So that being said, I am looking forward to the sequel. I'll definitely go see that probably a couple times. But we're gonna have to wait till I think September of 2019.
Oh boy.
We'll get that before we get the next Star Wars movie. Just let that sink in. So next week we're gonna talk about a movie that came out last year as well, called Shape of the Water. It won the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Oh yeah.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro.
I'm excited to see some fish sex going on.
That's not the reason I want to watch it, but I respect that. All right, folks. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Leave a comment, leave a like. Let us know how we did. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. Special thanks to Emily. Special thanks to everybody who made the movie It.
Yes.
Good job, guys.
Good job, Georgie.
Good job, Georgie. You keep your head up, kid. So we'll be back next week, and we will see you in the future. I am Zach.
I'm Jacob.
And peace out, my friends.
Bye.